Support the Amigos podcast and keep the Amiga goodness flowing for just $1 a month. Visit our page at patreon.com/AmigosPodcast.
Amiga, the first personal computer that gives you a creative edge.
Amigos, the podcast about everything Amiga. Amigos is a proud member of the Throwback Network, your home for quality retro podcasts. And now, here are your hosts, Aaron Dowdy and John Bodovkar Schaller.
Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to talk about Alien Breed.
All right,
that
man.
Team 17 classic. But before we do, Aaron, we got some feedback.
Okay.
We got some Major League feedback this week.
Major League. Okay, yeah.
Ravi from the Retro Hour podcast.
Great podcast.
Yeah. He said, love your podcast, essential watching. You guys have really taken the place of Amiga Roundtable. I love hearing the American Amiga scene perspective. You guys are great fun. Keep it going. From Ravi.
That's
Ravi,
praise.
yeah, thanks for writing in. The Retro Hour, I mean, it's a shining star. So
lots of Amiga stuff on the
yeah.
retro. You know what did we take the place of the Amiga Roundtable?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I think he might have just made it up.
When was that out?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back and listen to that.
And he said, P.S. You should check out a crazy Polish 3D rail shooter called Zidslaw Hero of the Galaxy.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. And I did check it out.
Oh, yeah?
It is cool. It's a lot like the old Die Hard arcade, or like, I get more like Virtua Cop, where it's like a rail shooter sort of thing, polygonal rail shooter, but it runs on a stock Amiga.
How do you shoot, with a mouse?
Yeah, you shoot with the mouse.
And really?
Yeah.
That might be interesting. I'd like to check that out myself.
Yeah.
It sounds like an Amiga play to me.
Right. So
good tip.
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. And I got a message from oh my gosh, I can't believe that I left out his name. Phil Time, Aaron.
Phil Time. What a great guy Phil is. You know, while you're looking at that, I'll say thank you to a plug. Just listen to the latest episode of Retro Asylum. Love that show, and they had some very kind things to say about us on there. And we're hoping to have at least one of the fellas on there, maybe a couple on the show here, just for fun, just to mess around. And by the way, Swaney, we love you too, so don't feel left out. But yeah, thanks for mentioning us, guys. We appreciate it. Great show. That show. It's the one I go out of my way for.
Yeah.
The second it's out, man,
It's a must
I'm there.
listen.
And
Absolutely.
their YouTube channel's top shelf.
I need to check out their YouTube channel. I haven't been on there.
I love the. Of course, they mentioned this because I've said it so many times, but I love the CD32 reviews. I'm looking at my chops for the new one coming out. There, he's working on a Cannon Fodder review. So keep up the good work, and thank you very much.
So this email came from Carl Blomqvist, and he's from Sweden.
Okay, makes sense with the name.
And he the subject of the email was copy fests.
Okay, just like just like we were talking about with the flag.
Right,
okay.
right. And he said, yeah, we went to copy parties in Sweden where we copied floppies. That was in the late 80s. In the early 90s, most of us bought US robotics modems and used Z-Term and used the command ATDT. Are you familiar with that command?
Yeah.
And the phone number to Elite BBS in Europe and the US.
I believe ATDT was attention. That was attention for the moment and dial tone.
You got it. He even put it right there in parentheses. You're a master of terminology.
I'm an old guy.
He said, sometimes we had the chance to buy stolen calling cards.
Yeah.
And if we were lucky, we could get hold of Virgin calling cards, VCC, where you were the only user of it, not sold to anybody else. And he said some of his friends also did phone freaking to get their own VCCs.
I'm not going to say that I was a phone freaker, but I did dip my toe in the pool and used not calling cards. I didn't have the jack. I didn't have the guts to try to mess with that stuff because you're getting into a real iffy area there. That's not a gray area. That's flat out stealing. Flat out stealing. But I would use dial outs and any little trick I could to, long distance was expensive. We forget about paying all that money.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy. He lived in Spain for a while. He was in the military, and he was talking about he only called his folks once every 5 or 6 months because it was a $25
connection fee.
Yeah, it was expensive to call. Now you think you just call anybody.
Right,
Plus you got Skype and everything else. So BBS costs that was brutal. But the thing is, man, if you wanted something, I always wondered if it was worth it, because if you're calling, like, say, Chicago, let's say, from here, that was super expensive. So by the time you downloaded the game you wanted to pirate, you probably could have just went out and bought the game.
Right. Saved you time, especially if your time was valuable.
Of course, the flip side is if the game's not available for you to buy nearby,
that's your only option.
Of course, you could always mail order. There's no way to excuse the fact that you're stealing games.
And he said that on the Elite BBS, it had a ratio of 1 to 2.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. You download twice as much as you upload.
That's unusual. It's usually, a lot of the places were 1 to 1. Sometimes they were even made you, and some people were, Flack talked about this. He ran a BBS on the C64. A lot of the really, really tight boards, real hot boards, you either A, had to pay, or B, you had to upload specific things that they wanted.
Right.
Because they weren't there just to give out software, man. They wanted to stock up their library.
And it's the same thing. The same thing continues today with torrent sites, I think. I remember when I lived in Korea, I used to really want to watch football, and football's not on in Korea, so I go to a torrent site, and I had to, I messed up and I didn't do the upload the way I should have.
Yeah.
And boy, they punished me. I had to pay to get back onto that thing.
I'm still in a few, and you've got to keep the ratio up, or pay. Yeah, you're right. But it's sort of similar, but it's a lot easier on torrents. You just leave the torrent running.
Yeah.
On if you want the game that you want desperately that's on that board, you better come up with something. My favorite thing to do was, sorry, Mom, but you get what you do is you stockpile a bunch of porn. Because most places would take porn, no questions asked. You could beef up your ratio enough to where you could download whatever you wanted. So, yeah, I know. I'm a scumbag.
And he said that he still gets together with his same group of friends, but now I guess this was later. They said that later on they used to have demo parties where they would compete with quick and dirty 68K assembler code.
Ooh.
That sounds like these guys were not your normal pirates. They had some skill.
Wouldn't that be fun to have that kind of jack?
Yeah. Because
those demo parties, I've seen videos, and of course you've seen the demos that come out of these things. So fun.
Yeah.
So much fun to have that. And even if I had the programming abilities, I don't have the musical abilities or the abilities to think of a very clever demo.
Right.
I could program my name or maybe something flash on the screen, but they don't going to care about that.
Yeah. So thanks, Carl. Thanks for writing in with your memories. It's good to know that copy fests were around in Sweden, too.
It's good to know that there's a Swedish guy like me that was a dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking pirate.
So what news do you have this week for the Amiga, Aaron?
Well, the story that just won't die, Boat, and I just keep drudging it up because I love it. They are apparently have now shipped Defender of the Crown Extended Collector's Cut. There's a picture.
Spin's he's putting the stickers on them. He's putting the stamps on the envelopes. He's shoving them out the door.
Is getting it done. Now, we kid because we love.
Yeah.
Spin's a good guy, and I'm sure this is mostly a one-man band doing this gig over there. And, of course, anyone that's followed any sort of project that has only a few people doing it, you run into all kinds of crap, especially if you're having stuff manufactured, you're having stuff shipped overseas, you have to deal with people taking their time on manufacturing. It's a pain. So I can understand him running into a bunch of hurdles. That much said, he's got big, nice pictures of it up. It looks nice. And the key thing is, and this is why we're bringing it up again, there's less than 90 of these left. I think it might have been 91 when I looked into the story. It was a limited run of 500, and he's shipping them, and 400 plus are gone. So if you're going to jump in and get you one of these, you better get while the getting's good, because they're not going to be around that much longer. There's no possible way these aren't going to sell out. I wouldn't be surprised if they sell out before the weekend's over, if you want the truth. So, hey, if you're into Defender of the Crown and you want the whole enchilada, which it comes with, there's Amiga, PC, Mac, discs, extra goodies, pictures, everything. It's got everything in it. Check it out. We'll link it up. Of go over and have a look at it, pick it up. It should be good, I think, don't you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I always like to mention this stuff, especially after the last one. They have scheduled the next Amiga Ireland Meetup, 2017. It's going to be January 21st at the Prince of Wales Hotel, Athlone.
Same place it was last
Yeah,
time.
I believe so. 14 pounds per person? Is that euros? 14 euros a person, and of course it's going to be awesome. I heard the last one was good. I saw a video from it. It looked great.
You know, speaking of Ireland, have you seen the new Lucky Charms commercials?
Oh, vote. That's not a night. They're not gonna. That's not gonna go over well.
They don't even know what Lucky Charms is in
I
Ireland.
bet they do. I bet they do. Somebody write us in if you know what Lucky Charms is. It's a leprechaun-based breakfast cereal in the United States.
So, have you seen the new Lucky Charms
I don't think
commercials?
so.
They're terrible. The guy does not have a Brit or an Irish accent,
Oh, but that's strike two.
and it looks like a Adventure Time ripoff. It's terrible. The Lucky Charms leprechaun needs to have an Irish accent, and he needs to look like he walked off the set of Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
There's a movie called The Great White Hype. Have you seen that movie?
No.
The guys, of course,
It's a boxing film,
It
right?
is, but a guy comes out, and and of course, this movie's about a white boxer they're trying to capitalize on him being white, and I think it's in Boston against a black world champion, and the guy's a stinky boxer, but they hype him up. And the one thing I remember from it is that since he's Irish, he's led to the ring by these little people in leprechaun outfits, and they're throwing Lucky Charms to the crowd. You know, just every horrible stereotype
Oh
you
my
can
gosh.
think of. Yeah,
Is it it's got to be a
it
comedy,
is.
right?
I think Keenan Ivory Wayans plays the other boxer. he's gotten real out of shape. And it's not a good movie. I don't know why it comes to mind, but that's the
That's
first
what
thing
you think of.
Yeah. Moving on. This new release of WinUAE. Once again, I've heard it's top shelf. I've not looked into it yet. AKA haven't installed it, but I have blind faith in the WinUAE team at this point. They always do a good job cranking those things up. That's pretty much all I've got. There's a little bit of vampire news, but I haven't looked into it enough to share it. There's a few, and of course there's a few Amiga like demo-y like games that are in prep. They're not out yet. I usually don't cover that stuff until they come out, so I'm going to keep an eye on them. But I'd say the summer's coming to an end, and we're going to start getting a lot more news with the fall months coming up, because that's when they usually start cranking it up. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, not a huge news month, but yeah, a few things. But get that Defender of the Crown if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah. We may be able. Hello. To sorry, Eep just came home. We may be able to afford that with some of that Patreon money.
Oh yeah, we're gonna review copy,
and then possibly do some sort of a big giveaway. Where we
oh,
give it
wouldn't that
away
be
to one
nice?
our
Wouldn't that? Of course, you
listeners.
got to pry that from my undead hands. But yeah, I can see that. Now, if they do another Wings or a Rocket Ranger, you're on your own. Get to
But
keep
you're
those.
going to keep it.
Yes. Defender of the Crown. I respect the game. I like what it did. It's not my favorite personal Cinemaware game.
Right.
So
But it was the first.
It was
and
the
was
the big deal.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it sold a lot of Amigas. Side updates this week. Dreamcatcher has posted. It's called Amiga Scour Issue 4.
That was great.
His ongoing series of kind of dipping into the past, interesting, weird, and wonderful things that appeared in Amiga magazines back in the day.
He finds this. I mean, some of the stuff that's on that. That article has got a bunch of crazy stuff in it. You know?
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at that old arcade, the arcade machine with the big CRT monitor.
You
in
know,
it.
I was thinking, wow, if I had seen that, I would have want that.
Yeah.
it was a good price.
300
too.
pounds, not bad.
That's not bad. You know, of course, I guess it looks like you had to put your own monitor.
Yeah, and but still, I mean, and I guess it never actually really came out. But
No, apparently it did come out.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe I misread that.
I think he said that some people actually had it.
Mhm.
So I guess they didn't sell too many.
And talking about football, as we were on the pre-show, the Commodore sponsored different football teams.
That was funny.
Yeah,
And they stiffed them for money. And, yeah, that was Commodore, all right.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
So we thank Dreamcatcher for writing yet another entertaining article for the site. Check that out at amigospodcast.com.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's about it. I think it's time to roll on into Alien Breed.
All right, man, let's do it.
So what can you tell me about Alien Breed?
Well, Alien Breed, released in '91, the original game. It shipped on 3 discs and had 2-player simultaneous play, which that's the way to go, right? We've done it a couple of times. Team 17. Should we go down run down some of their
we should.
stuff?
This might be somebody's first Amigos episode.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
don't know anything about
Well,
Amiga.
if you don't know who Team 17 is, you need to brush up. Project X, Super Frog, Worms, the whole run of the Alien Breed stuff. I believe Body Blows was theirs as well, the Body Blows series. So they had a few hits, and they're still around today. And they're beating Worms down like a dog.
A new Worms just came out just like a month ago on the PC.
Really?
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not in 3D.
No, it's got an interesting look. It's kind of got a hand drawn look that is hard to explain. But check it out on Steam. It looks interesting.
A sidebar here. Since we're talking about 3D Worms, which God knows they've tried it. I've never gotten into one single version of it. But I was watching Kim Justice, her retrospective on Psygnosis. I don't know if you've done.
I literally watched that yesterday.
I've watched about the first third of it because it's about over an hour.
It's an hour.
It's like a
15,
movie.
Yeah.
And but I had totally forgotten about the 3-dimensional lemmings.
Yeah.
And I was watching that being played and thinking to myself, this is impossible. There is no, and it reminded me of Worms, and it looked more impossible than 3D Worms. I mean, it looked
because
utterly impossible.
Yeah, it's crazy. This new Worms is interesting because there's vehicles in it. So you can actually jump into a vehicle and fire a special weapon.
Really?
Navigate.
What's it called? Do you know?
I can't remember. I can't remember what the name of the game is called, but it's Worm something.
It makes me happy that that a company that put out the quality games that they did is still around. It's
one of the few for sure.
So many good companies, including Psygnosis, a fine company. Really, Team 17, Psygnosis is probably your two. Would you say they're the 2 greatest Amiga?
I would say that. Cinemaware's up there.
And Cinemaware, and Cinemaware I guess is sort of still around in some capacity. At least they're properties.
Well, I mean, all these like DMA Design, they're still around.
But anyway, I think that's kind of neat. The game was the kind of the baby, and it was all of the guy that did the graphics. His name was Rico Holmes. Rico did a lot of stuff: Body Blows Galaxy, Project X, Super Frog, Worms. You notice a lot of the guys that worked on this worked on almost a lot of the big hits for Team 17. Rico, I read an interview with him, and this was his baby. He came up with the concept. He came up with the alien design, which is, he flat out said, "Hey, this is alien. The aliens from Aliens are aliens, and that's what we've got." So they sort of skidded past the trademark
copyright issues. Yeah,
and he said, I read an interview with him. He said they asked him, it's like, was there anything that didn't make the game? He said everything he wanted was in this game. He got everything he wanted in, and you can tell that they put this together. They knew where they were going. Like, I mean, it's an easy out to just say, hey, look, it's some kind of gauntlet thing, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more. The stuff with the console and the computer console, the stuff with with the various weapons, the way the aliens come out, the bosses. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and you could tell the guys. I mean, Team 17, they were an awesome team, and they knew how to milk every little drop out of the Amiga. This ran on the ECS and the OCS. No problems there. It has a couple sequels.
Did you mention the musician already?
The musician was
Incomparable.
Alistair Brimble. Of course, he's done so much stuff. Tons of Team 17 stuff. He worked for Codemasters, Microprose. He worked for Virgin. He did tons and tons and tons of music. So, yeah, I mean, I think he did almost. Did he do all of Team 17? Almost all.
I can't think of any game that he didn't do the music for.
It's the usual suspects. Your coders were Peter Toolby and Stefan Boberg. These, I mean, if you look, we've done several Team 17 games. We did Body Blows and we did Worms and we did Super Frog. It's just, I mean, Team 17's a team.
Yeah.
So that's all there is to it. They could crank it up. Anyway, there were sequels to this. Now the version I looked at was just the straight up first version. The one we played on the pre-show on the playthrough live stream. Thank you, I'll get it right. Was Alien Breed Special Edition '92, which was a kind of a tweaked update that was released as a budget title, and this was successful as hell. I think they said it stayed on top of the Amiga charts for 30 straight weeks, and I think it has the record for that. I like the fact that there are Amiga charts that were. I guess every magazine used the same charts. I mean, that's neat. Now we need that unified charts. I don't know if we've got those or not. You know, the budget. Obviously, and we've talked about a few games. A lot of these games came out in budget titles. That was a much bigger deal there than it was here.
Absolutely. I mean, we didn't in America. Talking about the American perspective, we didn't really get re-releases of games in a special packaging. What they would do is they continue to print the game like they always did and just decrease the price.
The ones I think of that I remember thinking, hey, this was PlayStation started doing that, like greatest hits or whatever thing. Those are the ones I remember seeing.
But
they had a different package,
right? That was after. I mean, they were the first company I remember doing that. Now in Europe, of course, this had gone on all the way back to the Spectrum days.
Yeah.
But it seems like when I was buying like regular Nintendo games, that never happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean,
games were just the game. You never got a re-release that had different packaging.
Something else on consoles. I guess maybe we came from a computer background with gaming, and I don't remember it. Do you remember any like Atari budget stuff or like?
No.
And I don't remember any Coco budget stuff ever. I don't remember any of that stuff.
No, and I don't know if it was just because the software was on the shelves for such a short amount of time. I mean, with Coco, what was the shelf life of Coco software?
Well, Coco software, the majority of it you would have to mail order,
right?
Because Radio Shack didn't take anything except for what they were selling.
We didn't really have a lot of computer retailers, and that could just be because we grew up in West Virginia.
I listen to these podcasts and stuff. They always talk about like they would go down to the local drugstore and get games. They'd go down to the local bookstore or magazine guy. Like that crap didn't happen here. You didn't go. You went to the computer store, and then or a game store specifically, which there weren't early on. There was Babbage's. There was
Software, etc.
Yeah, there was a few of them, but like Software, etc. Even or like Walden Software. But even those weren't just games. They were like a bunch of different software. Instead of it, they would have some games and some other stuff. But yeah, budget titles. That was a whole area of. That we never got to have, and boy, wouldn't that have been nice?
Oh yeah, you read about all these games that were sold for like $2.99.
Yeah, like I always hear that Mastertronic mentioned in there, and they released some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, there's probably a lot of dogs. And also, when software is out for a year or two, it should be released as a budget title.
And these days, we live in a golden era with Steam because stuff goes on sale all the time on Steam, and it's great.
Yeah, and Steam is that's really the main thing that I like about it. You can get a bunch of games, especially if you're not in a hurry. I'm not a big PC gamer, but
when stuff comes up like that
Cinemaware pack,
$1 or whatever,
or the Wings that was out, that you got to jump on.
Right.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting, the budget thing. But like I said, this has several sequels. It has Alien Breed, like I said, Special Edition, which we covered. Alien Breed 2, The Horror Continues, which is pitched at the end of this game. I don't know if you watched the very end of it.
No. Did you find a playthrough on this?
I did. I watched because God knows I couldn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
There's Alien Breed Tower Assault, which I have played that. Then there's Alien Breed, like a 3D one, right? Which is it called Alien Breed 3D?
I think it's just called Alien Breed 3D.
Which I have not tried that one, but I think we're talking about putting something together with the 3D games. So we may get on that road. I think this thing was also, I was looking at the publishers for this. I think this may have been budget released by Micro League.
Really?
It was listed as one of the publishers. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
We covered them.
Oh, yeah.
In the infamous Micro League WWE wrestling game that was probably our least watched episode.
Absolutely is.
So sorry, everybody. No one's into that. Of course, we started our pre-show this week by talking about wrestling. So there you go. This was released on some other platforms, which I was surprised. Amiga and Amiga CD32. It was a release on the CD32. I think they said it was in a combo disc with Quack, which we haven't talked about before, but it's just another Team 17 game. It was a DOS port.
I can believe that. This is that era.
But it's been recently released on the Android iOS platform. It was released on PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation Mobile, and I think that's a combo pack of the games.
Well, I got on Steam as part of a Humble Bundle or something. I have every single Alien Breed game on Steam.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think they have an enhanced version. Is that the one that you got?
I've got them all. I've got every single one. It was just part of that deal. So.
I see. Like I said, to summarize the game, if you've not played it, you play one or two, basically space policemen or space warriors who have landed on this space station that is full of aliens. When I say aliens, I mean the H.G. Geiger-esque aliens from Alien.
Yes, there is no doubt about it. They made no attempt to make them look different.
No. In fact, in the interview, the guy freely admits, I horked him. Like I said, the game is very gauntletty. It's a straight down
top-down shooter.
Top-down shooter. You go through. There are keys to go through doors. There are. You pick up money. You pick up ammo. You pick up different weaponry. You pick up first aid kits, and you try to get through each level. Complete the level. Some levels have bosses, and then you move to the little teleporter, the lift pad, whatever it's called, and you move to the next level. You can switch. You can have the ability to switch between weapons. I think the favorite weapon that I saw was the bouncing, sort of almost like boomerang shooter, because for the obvious reasons it bounces. There's lasers, there's machine gun, there's several different weapons. The computer console is interesting. It's sort of like a combination of store and information. You can pick up, as we did in the stream. You can pick up more keys when you've stupidly wasted all yours. There's a map you can access. It's very clever, actually. That's an interesting addition.
The console is really what makes the game different.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be a lot like. I think that this game. I don't know. Do you think this game is superior to Chaos Engine?
I enjoyed this one probably more.
I think so too, and
I don't know why.
It doesn't seem like you should. It seems like Chaos Engine should be a better game.
I think it's faster.
But yeah, it's faster for sure.
It's familiar, like Gauntlet. I mean, I keep throwing Gauntlet out, but it's Gauntlet-y. There's no doubt about it. I like the console. I think that's neat. I like the I just like the weapons that are in it. It just feels. Now there are some things I don't like about it. It feels constrained. I mean, it feels tight with two players. A lot of times you have to kind of. I mean, in a real space station, who's going to build a hallway where you can't fit two people down?
Yeah,
it's
more like a submarine than a space station.
Right. But it's still. I think it's probably because it runs a little quicker. Now I watched. It's funny. I read on I think it was on Wiki that this game eventually. I guess this is after it was released. They released an intro disc for it. Did you read about this?
No.
And the intro disc, it didn't come with it originally, so I don't know where you would have gotten it. But You put it in, and what it does is it has a little kind of semi-animated intro that sort of tells the story that's in the manual about you coming back from outer space and you're heading to your home base and you go in here and this thing's infected. It's got sort of like
Is it kind of like the beginning of Civilization, like sort of animated?
yeah. But I mean, it's neat, and I guess it was. I don't think they made you pay for it, but I know the from what I read is basically you would put it in, it would run through this animation, which like I said, somebody had put it on YouTube. That's where I watch it, and then because mine didn't have it, when I put it in, of course maybe I just didn't put the disc in. You know, I don't know. You know, but once you finish the intro, it'll say insert disc 1. And then you put the disc in, and when you insert disc 1, it's just like you're booting the game, you know, effectively. So it's sort of like having a disc 0. Like we said, Alien Breed Special Edition 92 was expanded. It did real well, and they made a ton of money off of it. Pretty much everyone loved that one more than the original. You know, I don't know if there were. I didn't read of a bunch of like flaws or bugs in the first, but maybe they just did some gameplay tweaks.
Yeah, I think that was what it is.
Or whatever. You know, I read a couple interviews with Rico, the guy that actually came up with the game, and it was interesting. He said they asked him what he used what influenced him, you know, what he used to come up with the concept. And the two games he listed, which I think are for the Spectrum, not 100% sure. There's one called Laser Squad, and then the other one, Paradroid. Now, Paradroid I've heard of. I think I've played that. That's a Spectrum game, isn't it? Paradroid.
I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
I think it is. I've played it. And they said that something else I read is the teams, the games, when they make them, someone asked how long does it take them to make them. It was like 6 to 9 months.
That's short.
That's a pretty fast turnaround.
Yeah.
You know, the game made enough money to where these guys were. I mean, it was almost like one of their flagship games until now. From what I read, the number one game team. This is gonna be a stunning revelation. The number one most played, most popular, biggest money making game for Team 17 was Worms.
I thought it was Body Blows. You've blown my mind.
Now, if you remember, just as a sidebar of that, I remember when we did Worms on the show. I liked the story. I liked the fact that some guy just made Worms and then just brought it to a trade show and was like, hey, will you make this? And someone was like, we don't want it, but they might. Can you imagine that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about kicking
It's like
yourself.
the guy that turned down the Beatles, you know?
Oh, my gosh. It's amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's funny reading an interview with the fellas over at Team 17. They said the saddest day was when they found out that they could no longer make Amiga games because that was their baby.
Well, they had the last, Team 17 produced the last commercially available Amiga game. Did you know that?
What was the last one?
Worms Special Edition in 1997.
97, eh? Interesting.
Thank you, Kim Justice. I learned that from your video.
Yes, everyone watch Kim. I found another interview with Martin Brown, another fellow that works there at Team 17, worked on the game. They said that they asked him, and this is just, I found this interesting, so I thought I'd throw it in. The least successful Team 17 game, according to him, the most, like I said, was Worms. The least successful, they had a game called Assassin.
Oh, I played Assassin on an Amigos Plays video.
Did you? No,
it's awful.
What's the problem with it?
It's like Lionheart.
By the way, Kim Justice liked Lionheart a lot more than you
liked
did.
it, but
so I would say, and you love Kim, therefore you must change your tune on Lionheart.
Never. It's a side-scrolling platformer that's very difficult. That it's very hard to control your hero and his movement and weapon. Now, Assassin 2 is much better.
Yeah. Something else they mentioned. They asked what game was the hardest to do, the program. You know? The answer makes sense. Super Frog, which makes that would be that, and I think it sort of shows in that one. They just they had the mechanics sort of down, but they couldn't quite get the game.
Couldn't tighten up the graphics on level 7.
Couldn't quite get it ironed out. This game reviewed well, stunning. All right, looking over the list here, it looks like it ranked anywhere from the kind of like the low 90s to the upper 70s. So, you know,
overall positive.
Yeah. It's you know, it holds up quite well. Like I said, we just played it, and I've played it all pretty much this week. I wish I didn't stink at this game because I like it. It's one of those games you have to get better at. And the biggest problem I've got is I've got a horrible memory, and I can't find my way around jack squat. And so that it always takes me time. I always waste keys. I almost always run out of ammo, which is a common complaint to people that don't like this game or like its sequels better. Which I've heard the second one is really good, but as you just like I did in our game, I have a habit. I want to shoot everything.
Right.
Something else this game is known for, and we mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we talked about an article that Dreamcatcher put up, is that this has tons and tons and tons of cheat codes that you enter on the terminals, and they're all dirty. I mean, these are some of them are quite filthy. For example, there's a code to reverse your joystick controls. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're a lefty. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, because, no, that doesn't make sense.
So, but anyway, they did it, and the code you type in is pissed as a fart.
Of course.
Juvenile stupidity at its finest. And they freely admit that these guys are, raunchy young men at the time who are probably, I know most of the original crew from Team 17 was gone, but I think it was like about 2008. I think the original crew was like 30 guys, something like that, and now I'd say almost all of them are gone. I mean, I wouldn't know exactly, but I know there's probably no more than one or two left. So, but most of these guys in '91 were young men, and so young men do a lot of stupid, crazy stuff. Now, Dreamcatcher put the thing up that said they would put these out there so magazines would not publish them. We know that didn't work.
Yeah.
Because they published tons of these things. So pretty much, that is the long and short of it. I did have a quick look on eBay. You want to guess what these are going for in the USA? Just a box copy.
If I was thinking about it, I would think that they would possibly be a little bit higher than normal just because of the alien aesthetic.
Well,
people like that.
In the United States, there were exactly 0 copies for sale.
Ooh.
None. So, I assume this got a U.S. release.
Sure, it had to. We never know. We never know about these things.
We never know. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, there were none available, and that sometimes makes me wonder. In the UK and over there, they did have some, but this is not a cheap game. The discs only were going for around $23 US shipped. It's pretty expensive for just the discs. Boxed, you're looking at $30 to $40 US dollars shipped. It's gone cheaper in the past, but for right now it's up. It's what people are asking. So if you're looking to pick this up, now, and I will say the other games are more available, widely available than that one. It's probably the rarest of the bunch. In fact, even the special edition is more available. Did you read? There's one last, and this is kind of a wacky tidbit. Did you read about the anti-piracy messages baked into this?
No.
I love when they do this. I love it, but I feel like crap when I read these. And this one, people speculate that, well, on one of these, this actually has 2. And the first one is by the game creator, Stefan Boberg. We mentioned him. He was the coder. And he wrote, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's incredibly long. You can see right here.
I'm looking at your notes right there.
It's this long paragraph right here. But basically he says, stop it now, okay? You will gain nothing from breaking this protection. But I guess you're too something or another ignorant, narrow-minded, or maybe too stupid to understand that. He goes on to just kill pirates. The funny thing is, at the bottom of this, he freely admits that he was a cracker at one point, but he realized it was futile and stupid, and he stopped doing it. And so, don't crack, he says. He literally says, so don't crack, in all caps. This was baked in. Now, that's not the only thing in there. There's another one in here that's probably also from him, where he goes on to pretty much, it's the same sort of thing. He rails against piracy and people that are breaking their protection. He also vows, he says, "You'll see a lot of my protection. Like, I'm the man." He brags about his protection scheme, which I thought was great. It didn't work because I know I had a copy of this. Maybe he should have used the same protection they used on the
RoboCop 3.
Pirate
dongle.
No, on Hound of Shadow, the protection that couldn't be beaten by us. Which we didn't get that out.
Oh yeah, what was that? What game were we playing?
We were playing Hound of Shadow.
Yep.
If you listen to last week's show, I don't know how that show did. I forgot to ask you how many people
it
picked
did
it
great.
up.
I didn't look at it either.
Really, yeah, it's awesome, millions. We usually do our Amigos live stream, and we were going to beat the game. That was our goal. We're going to beat this text adventure because people want to see that. They want to watch two nerds play a text adventure for 2 to 3 hours. And it took us forever to get going, but finally we're going. We're making some progress. We're rocking and rolling. We had the actual manual, thanks to O'Brien's. We had the actual physical game in our hands, and Boat said, "Okay, here's the copy protection. Look it up." I said, "Here's the number, Boat. Type it in." He typed it in. He goes, "It says that's not it." I was like, "Try this number." He typed it in again, and after we played it for 40 minutes or so, that game, when you type in the number wrong twice, it just boots back out to the desktop. That was it.
Yep.
And we had the manual. So when you can't beat the copy protection with the manual, that's what I call successful.
It is.
So, but what did you think of Alien Breed, Boat? I mean, obviously you're into it. Is one of your where do you place it in the pantheon of big Amiga games we've covered?
I like it. I think it's a neat concept, running around top down on a space station. It's a great setting for that. I like the different weapons. I like the things that you pick up. I think the console is a neat thing to put the store in the game. But the game suffers from not having enough variety in the enemies that you run up against. The game also suffers from it suffers from punishing you for exploring the space station, basically, because you can get in a situation where you run out of ammo and you're screwed because you used the keys to open the door that gave you money and not ammo. And so if I would have designed the game, I would have always allowed some way for the player to replenish their ammunition, because if you don't have ammo, you're going to die.
Well, you've always got the consoles.
That's true. I guess that's
so
true.
If you've got enough money,
you get the money, you buy the ammo. Okay, I take that back then. That's fair. That's
but
fair.
I mean, you're still, your argument's valid.
Yeah.
Obviously, and we got to a point where we were really screwed. Now it makes you think. There's a puzzle element to it at that point, but there's also an annoyance element because you're going back to. We went through this first maze 20 times.
Right, and that's another thing. Just like all of these Amiga games that we play week in and week out, I don't think that we're that inept when it comes to playing video games. We couldn't get off the first level.
We are inept.
We are kind of.
We're not good. And I practice, and I'm still not good.
Yeah.
I blame the gamepad.
And so, I feel like they should have made the first level a little bit shorter to give you some sense of accomplishment. And they could have killed you the second level. That's fine. But we walked around forever there. I don't even think we were close to getting off that first level.
I'll use my favorite phrase. To be fair, back in the day, they made games a lot harder.
Well, we know. We play them every week.
And we are horrible at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that we review games. Is there an Amiga version of Tic-Tac-Toe or something? We're not good. But overall, it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's again multiplayer.
It's a great
Amiga.
Multiplayer game.
When you've got multiplayer Amiga games, I think we liked almost every multiplayer game that wasn't North or South that we played.
Yeah.
So thumbs up. Again, another thumbs up. I'm looking forward to maybe dipping our toe in the pool again.
One thing that you said that really resonated with me is just how fast the game plays.
Yeah,
it's amazing how fast they push those sprites. You've got tons and tons of enemies coming at you. You're moving around. You're firing your gun. Everything's moving very quickly, and it looks great. You
could tell that the Team 17 guys were at the top of their game. They were honing their skills on this game, and the Amiga, when the Amiga's at its best, its graphics and gameplay can stand up against almost anything from that era.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, there was a lot of untapped potential that only a few of the big very skilled programming houses could pull off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course, this is one of them that
Right.
could do it, and they could do it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Psygnosis could do it, and the people, of course, they were mostly a publisher, but they had an eye for talent. Those guys could do it. They were, Codemasters had some good stuff. There were certain houses that could exploit the Amiga, and in certain places that just sort of threw something out there. The Amiga in some ways it's definitely a product of its era. When you've got good stuff, you've got some okay stuff that somebody gave it a good hearty try, and you've got crappy licensed stuff,
Really lazy ports from 8-bit systems.
and the C64 is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The Atari's the same. Atari actually is a little bit different. The Atari computer, but I guess the NES is another. Even a console, so there's a lot of shovelly crap.
Yeah,
and maybe the budget stuff. Maybe some of that stuff was budget stuff. We never knew it. That stuff must be an American, and you just randomly get these games, and you don't know what it is. You don't realize that some of the stuff they would probably sell for $3 at the drugstore. Mm-hmm. You're just like, man, what is this? This is garbage.
Right.
Well, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but boy, if you pick this up on a budget, what a deal!
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'd like to go ahead and thank our sponsors: Paul Harrington, Lauren Giroux, Loggins, Jonas Rullo, Kilborn Barman, Tapes from the Crypt, Adam Bradley, Chris Folds, Will Williams, Daniel Bingston, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage. That's my Lucky Charms guy voice.
Is that it?
Chad Halstead and Brent Dowdy. If you'd like to sponsor our show, check us out over at patreon.com/Amigos Podcast.
Did it have our new friend involved in that?
No, our new friend is not at the level that it takes to get listed.
Wow, man.
You got to be in the elite. You got to be a real Paul Harrington.
You're still our friends. You're all our good friends.
Next week, Aaron, do you want to drink?
Do you want to party? What else?
It's football season.
Oh, is it time?
It's time to
play
review
American
another football game.
Oh, no.
We're going to do brutal sports football.
Okay. This one, I am the proud owner of this game, and I have never spun it up in the CD32. So yeah, that'll be great. I've heard good things about it.
It'll be a good one. Well, till then,
Adios.